So what a vaccine's trying to do is trying to fool your immune system into thinking you've previously had this infection before. So if you've had an infection, you normally respond better the second time around. And the vaccine's just trying to trick your immune system into thinking that's already happened. So it does that. There's like three key components of how what we call immune memory. And they are, you have an incredibly low frequency of cells in your body that would recognize any pathogen. And so a vaccine is trying to expand that very small population. So the second time around, there's many more cells to fight against an infection. The second thing it's trying to do is that these low frequency cells have very low function. They can't really combat the pathogen effectively. So the other thing the vaccine is trying to do is to provide these cells with the information they need to combat the infection. And the third thing they're trying to do is the location. These cells in our body are swimming around our lymph nodes in our blood, but they're not really in the sites where we would normally encounter a pathogen. In this case would be the lung. And so after a vaccination, what happens is you have a high frequency of these immune cells that recognize infection. They have immediate function so they can combat the pathogen, and they're actually in the right location. They're sitting in the lung, or if it's a different vaccine in another body tissue. But so those three things have to change to respond better to a second infection, and a vaccine's trying to do all those things. In your body, you have, like I said, the capacity to respond to any infection. And I tell the students, like, if you think about it, that means if an alien race comes from outer space and they bring with them a pathogen, you actually have the capability to respond to that pathogen no matter what it is, as long as their life form conforms to our normal science. So, and that's because your body, these cells, the T cells and B cells in our body, their receptors are randomly generated. So most of your immune system is completely useless to you. It's directed against things that don't exist or things that you'll never encounter in your life. So the trade-off for the immune system to have that amazing function to respond to anything is that these cells have to be at very low frequency. Otherwise, we would just be a big bag of a lymph node walking around our legs. So we have these low frequency cells, and they're further constrained as they only move around between the lymph and the blood. And then they wait until they're activated because there's so few of them, most of them will never be involved in our lives. But once they're activated and they're told you're necessary for survival, then they expand, they gain function, and they move into the tissues.